2026 NFL Draft is in the books, so now it's time to give out some grades. Grabbing my red pen and grading each selection made by the Buffalo Bills in the 2026 NFL Draft as you're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports, presented by Prize Picks. Let's quickly run through the entire Bills 2026 class before we get into each individual grade here. As we know, with the 35th overall pick, their first selection, after 3 different trade downs, Brandon Beane, guys, no joke, made like 8 trades in this NFL draft, so I can't even cover them all on today. It's just too much jumping and maneuvering around. They take TJ Parker, the run defending edge out of Clemson in round 2, followed by another round 2 pick. They move up that time to get Davison Igbinosun, cornerback out of Ohio State. Then in round 4, Jude Bowry at 102. Swing tackle projection here out of Boston College. Skyler Bell at 125. Those when things really start heating up for Brandon Beane. In my opinion, wide receiver out of UConn, super productive last season. Kaleb Elarms-Orr was the following pick at 126, linebacker out of TCU. Great athletic traits and could challenge for a spot early. Jalon Kilgore, defensive back, safety, nickel hybrid out of South Carolina. I love the fit with him learning from C.J. Gardner-Johnson here with the Buffalo Bills. Zane Durant at 181, defensive lineman out of Penn State, more of a pass rushing specialist than a pure run stopper. Toriano Pride, cornerback out of Missouri in round 7, and then 2 more picks after a couple more Bills trades, of course. Tommy Dorman, punter out of Florida. So the Bills do go out there and get a punter in the 2026 NFL Draft after a lackluster season at that position last year. And then Armaj Reed Adams closed things out for Buffalo at pick 241, guard out of Texas A&M. We'll talk about all these picks and give them all grades in just a second. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, though, because we're almost at our next milestone of 15,000 subscribers here on the Bills Breakdown. We've seen awesome growth throughout the NFL Draft so far, and as it concludes, if we can get 33 more members of the Mafia to hit that subscribe button for free Bills content all year long, it would be awesome, man. Subscribe today. All right, so TJ Parker, the Bills' 35th overall selection, I'm giving it a C+. Okay, TJ Parker did a great job at welcoming himself to the Mafia and to the Bills media reporters. He went up and shook everybody's hand and asked for everybody's name, so a great rapport there and a great first impression, but I'm just not sure about the fit on this team. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Jim Leonard wasn't advised on this pick and he didn't sign off on it, but I just would have thought the Bills went somewhere else with this selection in terms of an edge rusher. If you wanted to go and get an undersized, bendy edge like an R. Mason Thomas or a Cassius Howell, that's where I thought the Bills would go here. But according to Tom Downey, the number 7 edge in this class, the number 29 overall prospect, like he does profile much like a guy like Bradley Chubb does. So I'm a fan of this selection in that regard because he's learning under a player that he's kind of molded around. But I just thought the Bills needed a better, speedier, quicker pass rusher off the edge to stand up at linebacker than they got in TJ Parker. But I hope I'm proven wrong on this pick. Next up at round 2, at pick 62, they pick up Davison Igbinosun, swaggy corner out of Ohio State. Got a little bit of a penalty issue, but I'm giving this pick a B+, okay? Because the Bills' cornerback room, it was an area of underrated need heading into this 2026 draft. Because, yes, you do have 2 bona fide outside starting corners in Christian Benford and Max Harrison, but Max Harrison missed the first 8 weeks of the NFL season in his rookie year, and then he misses the Bills' playoff run at the end of the season after getting hurt in Week 18. The reason he got hurt in Week 18 was because the Bills had no depth at corner, so now they go out there and get some here with Davison Igbinosun coming to Buffalo. Now, he does have a little bit of a penalty issue in terms of grabbing receivers. He had to wear oven mitts in practice at Ohio State to stop grabbing, but he's got an impressive size and speed combo with tons of starting experience. Fits best in a press man coverage scheme. Like, he jams receivers and is physical, and he's not afraid to throw his body around when tackling too. So I like this fit a lot for Buffalo. We know they want their cornerbacks to be able to tackle. Next pick at 102. Not going to love this one as much. Jude Bowry, C+. I'm giving this one. Second pick of the entire day 3 selections, and you go with a swing tackle. I thought you could have got a little bit later in the NFL draft. He's a guy who, he could end up switching in and moving interior to the guard position, which could make me like this pick a little bit more. But as a tackle, you do need a little bit more depth there. I'm giving this a C+. We'll talk more about Jude Bowry and the rest of the Buffalo Bills that were selected in just a moment. First, though, I'll tell you guys about our presenting sponsor over at Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Guys, playoff basketball, playoff hockey is finally here. There's no better time to cash in with our friends at Prize Picks. And I'll tell you guys this. The app's really easy to use. I've been a customer longer than they've been a sponsor here at Chat Sports, so take it from me. All you got to do is pick more or less on a few players' stats, lock in your lineup, and win real money watching your favorite sports. If you're more of a hoops guy, you can go with points, rebounds, assists, blocks, or three-pointers. If you're a hockey fan, you could choose shots on goal, hits, goals, assists, points, ice time even. On Prize Picks, you can even combo basketball and hockey picks in the same lineup. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature where you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app at Tyler J. Smith to see all of my lineups, including this one where I have Garrett Wilson more than 999.5 receiving yards next year. I think he's crossing 1,000. Ashton Genty more than 5.5 rushing touchdowns. And then Colson Love more than 6.5 receiving touchdowns. He's an absolute demon in Chicago. You can take my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. And even take advantage of the new Team Picks feature where you can pick spreads, winners, and totals of any game that you'd like if it's available in your state. New users are getting hooked up with Prize Picks as well. Download the app today. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. The clickable link to download the app is in the comment section and description of today's video. All right, so Jude Bowry comes in. Like I said, he can kick inside the guard. The Bills do have a need there with Alec Anderson getting moved up, Austin Corbett on a one-year deal coming for some competition. And then, beyond Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, there isn't a ton of depth behind them at the tackle spots. Maybe the Bills weren't as confident as they said they were in a Tylen Grable or a Chase Lunt back there. So they go out there and get Jude Bowry to potentially swing the Travis Clayton, their international pathway player program. Like, they didn't want him probably taking snaps this year either. So I imagine he's going to slot in right behind Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown in this depth chart when it's all said and done. I just don't know about his long-term prospects as a tackle at the next level. He may very well end up moving to guard. So the fact that we don't know what position he is just yet is a little bit, concerning for me if I'm Buffalo. So I'm giving this pick a C+. Now let's start giving out some baller grades, right? Because Brandon Beane, he saved the draft in the fourth round and in the fifth round. Skyler Bell, they get their guy at wide receiver here. And look, I'm telling you, he is going to start. He is going to beat out Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer for the wide receiver 3 on this roster. Skyler Bell comes in at 5'11", almost 6 foot here, 192. Not going to be your biggest frame receiver out there, but he separates. He can make plays at the catch point. Like, he's got some spectacular catches on film there, and the production was awesome, man. He had more 100-yard receiving games than anybody in all of FBS last year. He had 13 touchdowns. Like, he was constantly moving the chains, 100 grabs, only 4 drops and 141 targets. Like, the guy was getting peppered all season long. He was the reason that UConn football was as successful as they were last year. I love Skyler Bell, man. Good athleticism, ability to get open and create and contested catches. Great production last season. He carried the passing offense with the Huskies there. The wide receiver 14, 85th overall prospect per Tom Downey, and the Bills got him at 144. This is a home run pick for me. He doesn't bring any special teams value. I don't care because he's going to be a starting receiver on this team come week 1. I love this pick for Buffalo. A from me. Kaleb Elarms-Orr, we're keeping the good grades going. A- for him, the athletic linebacker out of TCU. He had a ton of ball production last year. There are some question marks surrounding his coverage abilities, but he's a heat-seeking missile, man. Send him on a couple blitzes. Get him close to the line of scrimmage. He will make plays in the run game. And you pair him up next to Terrell Bernard, man. I think it's a really, really awesome compliment. We know that Kaleb Elarms-Orr can make a name for himself in this Bills linebacking room because there just isn't a ton of competition out there. You have Terrell Bernard, you have a Dorian Williams, but do I want Dorian Williams being our starting off-ball backer for 17 games? I don't know about that. Then behind him, you got Keontae Jenkins and Jimmy Charlo, Buffalo Joe Andreessen, my guy, but is he going to move all the way up the depth chart this offseason? Again, I don't know about that. I think Kaleb Elarms-Orr has got a better chance at doing so. Really strong athlete with lateral quickness, speed, and balance. Can also provide some juice as a blitzer. Still relatively raw, which shows up in his eye discipline and coverage skills. But again, I'm not going to be asking this guy to cover all too much if I'm Buffalo. I like the pick a lot. Another incredible value selection for Buffalo. 8th overall linebacker, 84th overall prospect. You get him 40 picks later. 40 picks later for him and Skyler Bell. Now we're moving to pick 167, and the good grades keep coming. I'm telling you, Brandon Beane dominated the middle portion of this draft. A for Jalen Kilgore, if you ask me, because the Bills, I was a bit concerned about the fact they didn't go after a safety a little bit earlier in this draft, but then you see a guy like Jalen Kilgore, who is a round 3 talent, falling all the way down to round 5 here at pick 167. 6'1", he's got good length, got good athleticism at 210 there. 54 tackles last season, 12 PBUs, 2 picks. Like, he got good ball skills. He's going to jump behind C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Geno Stone in this depth chart. I imagine he'll be above Sam Franklin, Jordan Hancock, potentially even DeMar Hamlin as well. So eventually down the line, I believe Jalen Kilgore is going to be the starting free safety next to Cole Bishop in this depth chart here. And look, man, you are betting on the traits a little bit with Jalen Kilgore. He might be at his best as a run defender, but he has the upside to hold up against tight ends. He's lined up all over the defense. He's got 4.4 speed. Like, I think there are some concerns about him not having top-end speed, but 4.4 is still damn fast in this league. Plays a little bit too passive, has some coverage lapses, but I think this is a damn good player who you got a whole 80 picks after Downey had him ranked as the 89th overall prospect. Next up at 181, the Bills go pick 14 picks later and pick up Zane Durant. They finally addressed the interior of this defensive line in this NFL draft. I'm giving this one a B because the Bills, yes, they pick up TJ Parker to help in the run defense game, but Zane Durant's not exactly the most prototypical run defending defensive tackle, right? 6'1", 290, not really the same frame as the guys like Dominique Orange and Lee Hunter and Christian Miller and Caden McDonald in this class. Like, he had 4 sacks, 19 pressures. He was rotational for Penn State last season, and he got behind the line a decent bit. But there's a little bit of inconsistency in his production overall. Want to see it at a more consistent scale here. I imagine he's not going to challenge for a starting spot in year 1. You got Ed Oliver and Deion Walker back there were very productive in their own right, and then TJ Sanders was taken with a second-round pick in 2025. So I imagine he will be out there, competing with guys like Fedarian Mathis, Zion Logue, Dwayne Carter, and Tommy Akingbissote for those backup defensive tackle roles. Compact build with solid strength, but also light on his feet. Quick off the snap and shoots the gap well, and struggles to keep his anchor, can get overpowered easily if he doesn't win first. Now, the 216th overall prospect, taking about 35 picks earlier. Didn't love it, but that's the way the Bills go here. Jim Leonard probably signed off on this one too. Next up at 220 for Buffalo, moving on to round 7, Toriano Pride Jr. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I don't know anything about Toriano Pride Jr. I didn't do any scouting on him previously. I don't even know if he's real. No, I'm just kidding. But to Toriano Pride, he is a Buffalo Bill here. I'm giving it a B because I'm not going to sit here and act like I can make a crazy judgment or a bad judgment on him. But the Bills did need another corner. Like, they needed more depth, even beyond picking Davison earlier in this draft. Igbinosun is only going to be your cornerback 3. Like, beyond that, Dane Jackson, Tre'Davious White, they're all gone, and they haven't been picked up by anybody else just yet. So they need more cornerbacks in this room. They get one with Toriano Pride here. Great burst and speed, which gives him the ability to recover when beat. Improved tackling and run support last year. And instincts aren't good enough and gets beat too quickly too often. He'll probably be a special teamer for this Buffalo Bills team. Next up at 239, I can give a judgment call on this one. Tommy Doman, an A- grade I'm giving here because the Bills went out and got a punter, and he's damn good looking too. I'll be honest with you guys. He's gonna slide in there, and don't feel free not to put that up. And I think he's just gonna win the starting punter job. You don't draft a punter to not play him and not expect him to be your guy heading into next year. Like, that would be a situation where you just pick one up off the street to try to compete in training camp. This is the Buffalo Bills guy here. Doesn't look like Mitch Wisnowski is going to be the starter long term. He comes in at 6'4", 213, so a good build on a punter here. 50 punts, 44 yards on average, 34% of them came inside the 20, and he booted one for 71 yards. Yeah, the Bills had an issue with their punters just not having a big enough boot this past season, so they bring in a guy who's got a lot of leg at 239 at Tommy Doman. Last but not least, again, another guy who I just don't know a ton about. Guard out of Texas A&M, Armaj Reed Adams, giving it a B here for Buffalo. They need more interior offensive line help. We know Brandon Beane likes to pepper the O-line on day 3 of the draft. We'll see if they can get a hit here. I mean, we got a big cam of him, so he must be decent enough, right? He had 14 pressures last season at a 69 PFF grade and only allowed 1 sack, right? 6'5", 314, from Dallas, Texas. Shout out to him as we're coming at you from downtown Dallas here. And he'll probably compete, for that backup right guard spot behind Nick Broker. And we'll see how he goes there. I mean, 7th round pick, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. They're not always very impactful. It's not easy to find, guys who were drafted in the 7th round that are still relevant in the NFL outside of Brock Purdy. So I'm not too high on Armaj Reed Adams here, but hey, you never know. He was a vocal leader, 39 career starts. He's got good experience, good length, brings power in the run game. but he will probably get grabby as he had a couple penalties at A&M last season. The 17th overall guard, 238, and they get him a little bit later. With that being said, that is the Bills draft class for 2026. They picked 10 players. I know I've probably been on here for a ton of time at this point, but grade it for me down below. A, B, C, D, or F. Be the judge. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm giving it, official, a B. If you guys weren't able to tell, I didn't love a couple of their picks in their first three, but then their next three, I loved them all. So I'm going to go somewhere right in the middle and just give it a B for Brandon Beane. Thought he kind of just wasn't great in the first couple of rounds, and then next thing you know, things turn on their heads once it flips to day 3 in true Brandon Beane fashion. So a B grade for Buffalo in 2026. Let me know what your grade is down in the comments. That will do it for today's show. Make sure you give me a follow over on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith, because we're talking UDFAs tomorrow here on the channel too. That's why you subscribe as well. YouTube.com/Bills News for the latest and greatest on your Buffalo Bills all offseason long. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, let's go Buffalo.